يا أيها الناس قد جاءكم برهان من ربكم وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. A common question which often comes up in Tajweed is to give a comparison between Mad Munfasil Haqeeqi and Mad Munfasil Hukmi. This video will address this particular question, which is also covered on page 41 of Tajweed QA Part 1. The first thing we need to do is understand where Mad Munfasil fits in. There are two main types of Mad, and every Mad will belong to either division, either Mad Far'i or Mad Tabi'i. So the types of Mad Tabi'i include Mad Iwad, Mad Tamkeen, Mad Sila Sughra, and Alifatus Sab'a. There are two reasons of Mad Far'i, either Hamza or Sukoon. And you can see that Mad Munfasil is a type of Mad Far'i where the reason of the Mad is Hamza, as is the same case with Mad Muttasil, Mad Sila Kubra, and Mad Badal, where the reason of Mad is Sukoon are the Mads Mad Lazim and Mad Arid li Sukoon. So let's look at a definition of Mad Munfasil al-Haqeeqi. Al-Mad Munfasil linguistically means the detached Mad, and the word al-Haqeeqi means the true detached Mad, i.e. the Mad letter and the Hamza can clearly be seen between two separate words. It's a type of Mad Far'i which is held for 4 or 5 counts for Hafs min Tariq Shatibiya, and it's jaiz according to some recitations. Ibn al-Jazari mentions Mad Munfasil in his poem as jaiz. He says, وَجَائِزٌ إِذَا أَتَى مُنْفَصِلًا, meaning that the Mad is jaiz when it occurs separately, i.e. between when the Mad letter and the Hamza are in between two separate words. The Mad is jaiz here because qasr, i.e. 2 harakat, is allowed according to the tariq of Tayyiba. According to the tariq of Shatibiya, the Mad is wajib 4 harakat, and this is according to the way we are following. The sign of Mad is found above the Mad letter, and in Waqaf, the Mad is 2 counts, and it becomes a type of Mad Tabi'i. So in the first example, you have قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ. So on Sabili, on the Ya Mad, we have Mad Munfasil Haqeeqi in Wasal and Mad Tabi'i in Waqaf. On the Waw Mad of Ad'u, we have Mad Munfasil Haqeeqi in Wasal in continuation, and in stopping we have 2 harakat only, which is a type of Mad Tabi'i. In the next example, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ. So here on the Alif we have Mad Munfasil Haqeeqi in Wasal, and in stopping we have Mad Tabi'i. And in the last example, وَجَاءُوا أَبَاهُمْ. So the Mad on the Alif is Mad Muttasil, and on the Waw we have Mad Munfasil Haqeeqi in Wasal, and in stopping we have Mad Badal, because the reason of the Mad is Hamza. So let's look at a comparison of Mad Munfasil Hukmi to Haqeeqi. So Al-Mad Munfasil still means a detached Mad, and Al-Hukmi means that it's taken the obligation of Mad Munfasil. The Mad letter and the Hamza look as if they are in one word, but it's actually 2 words written as one word. It's type of Mad Far'i still, and it's held for 4 or 5 counts for Hafs min Tariq Shatibiya in Wasal and Waqaf. And it's jaiz according to some recitations that hold this Mad for 2 harakat. The sign of Mad, i.e. the squiggly line, is found above the Mad letter, And this mad is special for the two particles ha and b, which is a ha of attention, which can be seen on page 63 of Tajweed QA Part 2, and harf nida ya, which is the calling ya. So examples: وَقِيلَ يَا أَرْضُ بْلَعِي. So the ya of nida here, the harf nida, is found attached to the word ard, which means O earth. It looks as if it's in one word. The hamza and the mad appear in one word, but the meaning is two words written as one word. So it's two words written as one word, which means the words cannot be separated. So it's mad munfasil hukmi in wasal and waqaf. We cannot stop after the ya. The same with here. وَقُلْنَا يَا آدَمُ اسْكُنْ. So ya, the harf nida ya, is attached to the word Adam. O Adam. They cannot be separated, so they have to be read together in continuation. So the mad here would be mad munfasil hukmi in wasal and waqaf. And in this example, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. So again, the harf nida ya is attached to ayyuha, which means O you who believe. And they cannot be separated. So this is again mad munfasil hukmi in wasal and waqaf. An example with ha and b. Ha antum haula'i jadaltum anhum. So the ha and b is attached to the pronoun antum, which means here you are, and haula'i, the ha and b, the ha of attention, is attached to ula'i, meaning those who. So these are all examples of mad munfasil hukmi, where we're holding the mad for 4 or 5 counts in wasal and waqaf, and it's two words written as one word, which cannot be separated. They cannot be stopped on. Cannot stop on the first word.
So now let's compare the two mad, Munfasil Haqeeqi and Munfasil Hukmi, and give differences between the two. So mad Munfasil Haqeeqi is where the mad letter is fixed in writing, i.e. appears in its original form, and it's also pronounced. So its mad letter is fixed in writing and in pronunciation. Whereas mad Munfasil Hukmi, the mad letter is cancelled in writing, which means it's not written in its original form, it's written in its minor form, in a small form. Yet it's fixed in pronunciation. So we're pronouncing it, but it's in its minor form in the way of writing. So examples here. So you have the word فَدَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ. So the waw is written in its original form. So it's fixed in writing, and we're also pronouncing it. And the alif here is cancelled in writing, meaning it's written in its minor form. It's written as a small alif, but we're pronouncing it. The same with Ya ayyuha, it's written in its minor form, so we would say it's cancelled in writing, and we're pronouncing it. It's fixed in pronunciation. Mad Munfasil Haqeeqi is used with all 3 mad letters, so with the alif, the waw, and the ya madiyya. Whereas Munfasil Hukmi is only for alif madiyya, so you will only find the special for the alif. Munfasil Hukmi is special for ha and b and harf nidaya, whereas Munfasil Haqeeqi is not specific to any type of word. Munfasil Haqeeqi is 2 harakat in stopping. In stopping, it becomes a type of mad tabi'i, whereas mad Munfasil Hukmi is a type of mad fara'i in wasal and waqaf. So the duration is the same in wasal and waqaf. It's 4 or 5 counts in stopping and 4 or 5 counts in continuation. In Munfasil Haqeeqi, we can stop after the first word. So after fada'u, we can stop if we run out of breath. Whereas in a Munfasil Hukmi, we cannot separate the 2 words. So you cannot separate the ha and b or the ya nida from the word it's joined to.
So let's look at some practical exercises and identify the madud in them. Okay, so if you pause the video after each example and compare with the answers which are given. So you need to find the mad on this word, the ya with a squiggly line, in wasl and waqaf. So in wasl, we have mad munfasil haqeeqi, 4 or 5 counts, and in waqf we have mad tabi'i. The next example, so in the next word, on the word qada, if you give the name of the mad in continuation and in stopping, in wasl and waqf, and pause the video while you write your answer down. So in continuation, we have mad munfasil haqeeqi on the alif maksoor, qada, and in waqf we have mad tabi'i, 2 harakat. In the next example, you have 2 alifs in one word. So identify both madud in wasl and waqf. So if you pause the video and write down your answers. So in the first alif of ya, we have mad munfasil hukmi in wasl and waqf. So the first alif will be stretched 4 or 5 counts in wasl and waqf, and the second one is on the alif after noon. So this will be mad munfasil haqeeqi in wasl and mad tabi'i in waqf. قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا. قالوا يا أبانا in waqf. So in the next example, if you identify the mad here on the alif in wasl and waqf, pause the video and write down your answer and then compare. So this alif is mad muttasil in wasl and waqf, which is 4 and 5 harakat. The ha is part of the word. It's not an extra ha as the ha tanbih was previously. So the meaning here is here, read my record. So this is an ism fi'al amr, which is a noun that has the same meaning of a verb. So care needs to be taken not to mistaken this for ha tanbih. When we have ha tanbih, the alif will be always written in its minor form, as a small alif. So if it's written as its original alif, as the big alif, then this cannot be munfasil hukmi. So the next word, if you identify the mad here in wasl and waqf, and write down your answer after and pause the video. So this is mad munfasil haqeeqi in wasl and waqf. In wasl, so in wasl we read the waw mad for 4 harakat or 5 harakat. Wa in talbu aw tu'ridu. And in stopping, this is mad tabi'i, which is 2 harakat. Wa in talbu. And the type of mad tabi'i that this is mad tamkeen. So this is mad tamkeen. And the way that you would recognize that it's mad tamkeen is that it's a waw madiyya and a waw mutaharrik together. So when we have waw madiyya and waw mutaharrik together, then we call this mad tamkeen. In the next example, we have the word sammaytumuha antum wa aba'ukum. So if you identify the mad on this alif and write down your answer. So this alif is mad munfasil haqeeqi in wasl, 4 or 5 harakat, and in stopping it's mad tabi'i, 2 harakat. So this sammaytumuha, this ha is a ha damir, it's a third person singular feminine pronoun. The meaning is here, the meaning is you have named them. Sammaytumuha, you have named them. So it's an extra ha, and it's a pronoun ha. It's not similar to the ha that we had in ha antum previously in Surah An-Nisa. So care needs to be taken not to mistaken this word with the ha antum which we had previously. So in ha antum, this is ha tanbih, which is attached to antum, and this is munfasil hukmi. Whereas sammaytumuha, this ha is the ha damir, it's the pronoun ha, and it's not attached to antum, it's separated from antum. So to summarize what we've covered today, we looked at a definition of mad munfasil, and we compared the 2 types. There are 2 types of mad munfasil. We compared munfasil haqeeqi with munfasil hukmi. So munfasil haqeeqi is when the mad letter and the hamza are clearly between 2 words, and we stop with 2 harakat. So in continuation, the mad would be 4 or 5 counts, and in stopping it will be two counts of mad. Whereas Munfasil Hukmi is when the mad letter and the hamza are written as one word, although they are two words, and we cannot stop between the two words that are written joined. So the Munfasil Hukmi will be 4 or 5 counts in wasl and in waqf. A note needs to be made that if a person chooses 4 harakat for this mad, then they need to be consistent in applying 4 harakat to all the similar madud for that period of recitation, and not recite some for 4 and some for 5. And the same for if a person chooses 5 harakat for this mad, then they need to be consistent in giving all the mad of the similar mad 5 harakat in that period of recitation. And we looked at practical examples, so care needs to be taken not to mistake Munfasil Hukmi for mad muttasil. I hope you have benefited from today's lesson. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
وأن أتلو القرآن فمن اهتدى فإنما يهتدي لنفسه ومن ضل فقل إنما أنا من المنذرين.